everybody. Thanks so much for being here back at the Josie Show. This is Gaming from Scratch, where I interview other people and talk about their experiences and their journey as gamers and streamers and content creators. And sometimes we'll talk about my own experience too, from starting from scratch at 23, the ripe age of 23. So thank you all again for being here. And Chris, also known as Asian Man, thank you so much. I'm really excited to dig in and talk about you and your journey and things like that.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be really exciting. I can't wait to answer all of your super exciting questions.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So then I guess we'll just jump into it. So you go by Chris, right? Or Asian Man?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And we'll drop your Twitch handle in the chat, or I'll have Titan do that. So that'll be good. Everyone go follow him, which will be nice. And so tell me about, this is what I always like to start with. Tell me about your journey as a gamer. How did you get into gaming? Has it always been like since you were young? And then how did you get into streaming? So just give us a little synopsis or a timeline of all of that.
Well, I first started gaming when I was really little. A Nintendo 64 was my first console that I played on. And I remember my favorite games were Mario Kart and Mario Party, and Mario Party 3 specifically. I had a friend in my neighborhood. I would go over to his place and we would just get so mad at each other for Mario Party 3. And Mario Kart was always a really fun game. It's always been in my life since that time. But then I got my first Game Boy. It was an Advance, and I started playing Pokemon then. And from then, Pokemon started becoming kind of like not a lifestyle, but a really enjoyable experience for me. My first Pokemon game was Pokemon Gold. And
how old were you again? Because you said young, so like, are we talking 3, 5?
Eight,
okay.
Like maybe 7 or 8, elementary schoolish. And from Gold, I went on to like Ruby, Sapphire, and then I actually backtracked into Blue, Red, and Yellow. That was really fun.
What do you mean by backtracked?
So the first Pokemon games were Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Okay.
And then after that, in Gen 2, was Gold, Silver, and Crystal. So I started off with Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Then I went to the third gen with Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And then after that, I went back to the first gen with Red, Blue, and Yellow. Specifically Yellow. That was a really cool game because you actually had a Pikachu that would walk behind you. It was really cute, and you could tell if it was happy or sad.
Aww.
And yeah, it was awesome. Like it followed the TV show.
Pokemon.
Practically.
Pikachu Tamagotchi.
It was adorable, and I felt so bad when it was sad. I was like, how can I make you happy?
I know. Oh my gosh, I know. I had Nintendogs, and you'd have to feed them, and I'm pretty sure that they had like a rating on how happy they were, and whenever they were sad or like they needed to be fed or something, I was like, no, I'm so worried about these like virtual animals.
Or virtual animals, because I would start the game, then I would just stop playing it for months, and I was like, I need to check on my animals.
I know, right? I want to make sure they fill up. I actually had, when I was a kid, these like giant Pikachu slippers.
Oh.
They were my favorite. And they were so tiny. My mom kept them for a while, but those are like my favorite.
I want some Pikachu slippers now.
Right? I know.
Not the worst of ideas. All right, that's my next investment, guys.
Right? I know.
I'm getting Pikachu slippers next.
Capitalism at its finest.
Huzzah! Capitalism really popped off today, everyone.
Exactly.
But after everything, I actually got an Xbox 360. That was my first, I guess, console. No, the GameCube, and then the 360. And I played the obvious ones, Halo, Call of Duty. Dude, Modern Warfare was one of my favorite games. It was so awesome. I hated online play, but the campaigns and the stories were amazing. From there, I got a PlayStation 4. And I've been rocking with the PlayStation 4 since, I want to say, when I was like 20. So almost 10 years now.
Okay.
And it's still holding up. It's been my bread and butter for almost 10 years now. And I have all of my favorite games on there. And I've taken very good care of it. Now I have the Switch and the PC, but that's beside the point.
So when you game, are you usually a PC gamer or do you use?
I switch between all three, actually.
Okay.
I do like 1 or 2 games on PC, but I have a couple games on my PlayStation that I like to play, and then I'm just finishing up a couple of my Switch games too. It's like, obviously, I went with Pokemon games when they came up. Legend of Zelda did that.
On the Switch?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
beautiful, amazing show.
So
Amazing.
yeah, which games do you play on the Switch or prefer to, and why? And then PlayStation and PC. I want to hear the breakdown and your reasoning.
Fair. I like to do like more RPG kind of stuff, like Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, big adventurous things on my Switch, just because the games are there, it's more accessible, and honestly, really, I only play Pokemon and Legend of Zelda on my Switch. I was like, all right, cool. PlayStation, I've got my shooter games, my FPSs, and my bigger adventure games, like especially like my exclusives, Horizon Zero, Last of Us, God of War. I always prefer my console for that one. PC, it's cool, but I don't know. There's something about the PlayStation with those games. Maybe it's just the me thing. And then my PC I use for more exploratory games like Subnautica, Stardew, like things that you can just kind of mess around in and not feel bad about. But I have been starting to do a few FPSs on that, like Fortnite and whatnot, so it is kind of easier to transition onto that. I did try Valorant once, and that was an experience.
On PC?
Yeah.
Can you play it on console or no?
I don't think so. I think it's a PC only.
Okay.
It's like out.
And how was that experience?
Like, I don't want to talk about it. I got so bullied.
PTSD, I know. I totally can relate. I think all gamers have the game that they've been bullied on, or like think of times with it. All my friends want me to play Valorant, and I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Valorant has hit the point of a game where I have to be with friends to play that game. Yes, never solo queue in a game.
When you first played, did you solo queue?
No, I still had some friends there, but we would have like 1 or 2 random people, and they got so mad at me because I had just started playing the game and I was horrible at it.
I mean, of course you're going to be. You're new to a game, like.
Yeah, like one of the people that I played with told me to do something very bad with myself, and I was like, oh my god, I just started playing. Is this really what I just walked into?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
So I've said this before, but with Apex, for me, that was my first game ever, and M&K. And when I was playing, I had played with my boyfriend because he was really into Apex. It had been like a year or 2 old, and that was like one of his favorite games. So I was like, okay, well, the pandemic's here. I want a game too, or at least like be involved with what you're doing. Let me try it.
Right.
And I was playing up with Preds because it puts you in lobbies with the highest person that you're playing with. And he was a Predator, like a 2-time Predator. And then he would have friends that wanted to play. And then he's like, yeah, I'm playing with my girlfriend. They're like, she's new. I hope you're okay with it. And they're like, yeah, that's okay. And then we'd be playing against Predators, and it was and I remember almost crying because I'm like, this is the hardest thing I've ever done. Not even hardest game. This is just the hardest thing that I've done in my life. I was like, I'm so bad. I can't keep up. It was so hard. And I remember my first kill. Like, I'll never forget my first kill because of how... because it was it had taken me forever to get a kill, you know? I was new. I didn't know I was M&K. Like, I had no experience with gaming at all. It was like just thrown to the Predators. thrown into the Apex Predators.
Just thrown in there.
And so then I stopped playing. I was like, okay, I need to practice. Like, I am very competitive. I wanted to be able to keep up. And so I started practicing, and I remembered solo queuing, and I just prepared myself. I was ready for like mean people. And when I had gone into solo queue, I was really good because I had been playing at the highest level. I was really good compared to where we were, you know? And I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier. And so whenever I would rarely ask to play with him anymore. I would only want to solo queue because it was so hard. Like, I had no chance. But when I was by myself, I did have like somewhat of a chance, of a literally a fighting chance. And I got really lucky because everybody was so kind. I don't know if it's just because I was a girl and I would say like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like I'm newer, I'm trying, and I tried to follow, at least be a good teammate. Even if I wasn't a good player, I was a good teammate, like I would heal people. I was Lifeline, which was, she's the healer. Yeah. And I was so good. Like anytime someone was knocked, I was over there and I was healing, I'd tell them like, crawl back. And I got so lucky. And then I took some time off and I hadn't played in like 4 or 5 months. But it had been over a year since I had first started playing. And I took a little break and I came back and it was so toxic, like completely different situation, completely different vibes. I solo queued and it was horrible. I was like, man, this really felt like all the kids from COD or whatever came over. And I had met some of my closest online friends and even friends in general from solo queuing. Like I met up with some of them in person. It was like they were all in my stream and some of them were mods and it was all from just meeting them in game.
Yep.
And I was like, what happened? So anyways, that's my experience. But I'm so scared for even Valorant or COD.
Honestly, Apex was one of the best games that I played. So it's funny how I got to Apex because I actually got Fortnite first because me and some friends that I met on Overwatch, just like you, I actually met some of my best friends on Overwatch because they were the only people with microphones. And I was like, hey.
Usually people don't talk on Overwatch, though.
Yeah, and it bugs the heck out of me, especially if I'm competitive. And I'm like, come on, y'all. We need to communicate. Like, we got to be a team here. But that's beside the point. So Season 1 of Fortnite was around, and it was strictly build mode then. And I was a console gamer in the midst of, like, PC gamers, and that was very unfair. And I was like, how do I get better at Fortnite? And then Apex Legends came along. And just on a whim, I was like, let's check this game out. And then I was so happy and baffled at how easy it was compared to Fortnite. I was like, wow, this is so easy. I just have to shoot. And I told my friends.
Was this when it first came out or a little bit after? Okay.
Like right when it first came out. I texted my friends. I was like, hey, check out this game, Apex Legends. It's a three-person game. It's less complicated than Fortnite. We gotta play this. Yeah. And that became our game after we slowly got off the Overwatch train. And then I want to say it's been a while since I played it though.
Yeah, but it's changed so much.
There's a lot of new characters I can't keep up with, but I will stick true to my Bloodhound. I love a tracker. Like Bloodhound is my man.
I like Bloodhound too. But my favorite legends are from Apex at least. So it was Lifeline. She was like my bae. Like I love Lifeline. And then I switched to Octane because I liked his passive healing. And then because I did start playing again with my boyfriend and other people who were just so. It's funny because even with my stream, I am branded as like a trash. I call myself like a trash player. It's like a lot because I'm a horrible player. And so, it's funny though because I attracted people who were like predators, like Apex predators, and then they're like, oh yeah, we'll play. I mean, of course, like I have some people who aren't as good too, but and so Octane's really good because he can run really fast, and so I don't fall behind because the Preds are like moving and grooving, or even people who are diamond or just up there, like they move so fast, and I can't keep up. And so that's like the only thing so I'm like. And then I got an heirloom, which I was so excited about. And so I got the Octane one, and now I only want to play Octane because of the heirloom. But I did love Bloodhound, and I also liked Seer when he first came out. That he was like a fun one. He's a newer one. I don't know if you if you've played him. And then I think that those are my top ones. So
like I said, Bloodhound's my man, but Bangalore was my first.
Bangalore is good too. Yeah.
Bangalore, and I actually started becoming pretty decent with Wraith.
Oh my god, I could never play Wraith. She was so. But they've also what's it called when they like knock her?
They nerfed her.
They nerfed her really really bad. Like every single season because everyone loved playing Wraith, and it was always like the sweaty Wraith mains. And so her portal now is delayed whenever she opens it up there's like so many things that they nerfed with her. But
Wow.
people still play her. She's still one of the top ones for ranked, especially.
I have been away for so long.
Yeah.
It's all the OGs that stuck with me because I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably when everyone started coming back, new characters came in. I was like, all right, I just don't have the time to play anymore, so I fell off the wagon. But yeah, I miss Apex.
Yeah, I know. It's good, especially when you're playing with people, but it has changed a lot. And I feel like I definitely will get back into it how it was before because it is a really fun game. And yeah, it's just like it's simpler as opposed to Fortnite, like the building. But now that there's not building in Fortnite, I feel like Fortnite's also
much easier. It's really Fortnite is really fun now.
Yeah, I know. I never got into it because of the building. I'm like, that's way too complicated. I already can't. I don't know how to pick up like guns. I don't know how to do anything, let alone build. Like that's one thing at a time.
Yeah, please and thank you. Like just tell me to aim and shoot, and I'll be good.
Exactly, or like run and hide. Either way. So yeah, when did Twitch come along, or like the streaming side?
The streaming side came around actually during COVID. I was a pandemic baby.
You and everybody else.
Oh yeah.
Me too.
It was me and my lowly PlayStation. And I was just playing so many video games. I was like, you know what? I'm going to try out Twitch. So I downloaded Twitch on my PlayStation, got that all configured, set up. I spent like $200 on a PlayStation VR set so I could get just the camera. So I could do that because there was no way I could get the camera anywhere else. And I was like, you know what? I'll use the VR set sometime. Haven't touched it. Whoops.
Okay, wait. So how does that work with PC versus PlayStation? And do you only stream PlayStation, or do you also stream on your PC?
I stream on PC strictly now just because everything's a lot easier. But back then, there was I would be able to broadcast my gameplay directly from my PlayStation, and that's how I'd get onto Twitch.
Right.
It would be all.
But then did you record yourself? You said you had a camera, right? Or was it just the screen?
It was just the screen.
Gotcha.
Just screen and gameplay. Wasn't that advanced yet. I didn't have OBS. I didn't have anything. So I worked with that for a couple of months. Actually about a year. Over a year. And then for my birthday / Christmas, I asked my parents, can I get a PC? They're like, choose one out. And I found a really good pre-built. And I was like, I want this one.
Where'd you get it from?
Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. Amazon's the best, guys. It is an endorsement, but I love Amazon, guys.
Amazon, listen up. You can get
sponsor me, please.
Wink, wink.
I'm against everything about you, but I love you so much. I'm sorry, Jeff Bezos. My God and Savior. I'm just kidding.
Right.
And then, so, yes, that was about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And that made life a lot easier because my PC was, not my PC, my laptop was starting to wear out. And I was like, okay, I don't think streaming from my laptop is a great idea. And that's when I was like, let's get the PC. And it was a tough fight for my parents to convince my parents, but I was like, I can do a lot of other stuff on this. Like I can edit my audition videos, I can write scripts, I can do a lot of stuff, guys. They're like, all right, go for it.
Why were they against it? I thought that would be a no-brainer because of how much you can do.
They saw it was a gaming PC, and my dad was a little skeptical. I'm like, yes, it is a gaming PC, but
however,
I can do everything else on there. I can get my Microsoft Word, Excel, Adobe Audition, Adobe Premiere, like anything I need. And then from there, it just happened to be downloading all the proper materials, and it still took me a while to really kind of get grips with streaming and learning OBS, mix it up, all the bots and everything that you have to do, and even just Twitch itself. But I got there, and you get there.
Yeah, you do. I was really fortunate because I had a lot of people help me with what to do, but it's so much. Like if you're not technologically pretty savvy, then it's a pain. I mean, you can also YouTube everything, but man, when
Oh
something
man.
breaks, especially when you're live and you don't know what to
Mm-mm.
do, or you think that you think you're live and then you're muted and then no
It's
one
so
tells you,
scary, and
or
I'm
like
like,
there's so much that could go wrong.
come on. But I will say, I have to give a big shout out to Allie over Allison, who's also a Titan.
I think I interviewed her last week, actually.
Yeah, because I actually found her on TikTok because I was scrolling through like Twitch and like who to follow and finding people, and like she was one of the first streamers that I like came to and like was consistently coming back to,
Right.
and like we just vibed well, and I was like, and she gave me a lot of encouragement into streaming, and um she helped me a lot with figuring out a lot of Twitch stuff and everything. And from her, I met a lot of people from the Titans, and from that, we're to current times. And I was like, I'm grateful to have met Allie via TikTok.
Yeah, it's crazy how small the gaming world is, like how big it is, but also how small it is. There was one girl who I had found on I met her in an Apex game, and then she was like, "Oh, you stream?" Or I said, "Oh, do you stream?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then I followed her, and then she followed me back, and I'd pop in occasionally. She'd pop in with me occasionally, and she was all the way in Australia, and
Dang.
she rated me a few times. I rated her, and she had like a pretty decent sized community. I think she was averaging like 30, 40 viewers.
Mhm.
So that was really cool. I was smaller at the time. I had only like 15, 20. So it wasn't as big of a raid, but
Right.
people appreciate
But it's still a good
anything.
raid.
Yeah. And so her and I like kind of stayed in touch. And then her boyfriend actually, or her ex, which I didn't
Ooh.
know, he had found me on the recommended.
Mhm.
And he saw like one of her friends in my chat, and they were like fighting, and they're like, "Ew, like you're here" or something. And then like, or she was there, and then they were being really like sarcastic with each other. And then her friend came over, and I was so confused. I
Oh
was
my
like, "What is
god.
happening over here?" And he was
Oh.
like, he goes, he's like, "Can I talk to you after your stream?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And then he was telling me about how like that's my ex, and I was like, "What?"
Oh
The cheese spilled. It was crazy, and I was like, "This girl's in Australia, and like you're in San Francisco," and like it was so crazy. And I like had met her through like a
Oh
random
my
game, and
gosh.
then another thing too. There was another girl who I met randomly
Mhm.
in a game, and she was super sweet, like loved her vibe. And then I followed her on Twitch, and then she like followed me, and I rated her afterwards. She was newer to it as well. She's
Right.
freaking gorgeous. She's one of the most like beautiful people ever. And she ended up like kind of dating one of my OGs as well, and they were both in the LA area. So isn't that crazy?
That's awesome,
I'm
actually.
not dropping names for a reason.
Of course, of course. That's
I'm like,
awesome.
isn't that
Like,
insane though? Like how crazy like the gaming
it's
world or like with
it's
people.
it's amazing like what the gaming community can do.
Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, there was always a stigma against the gaming community. I feel like when all of us were growing up, there was always a stigma
Yes.
against it, being like, stop being lazy, go outside,
I
do
know. I
something. And
don't
I'm
understand that.
yeah, like, let's be honest. One, video games are better than most movies out there.
Yes.
Two, you meet some really amazing people. Like you, like I met my friends on Overwatch, like, and it's even a great way to keep in touch with people. Like I keep in touch with a
Yes.
lot of my friends from back home via like PlayStation and everything.
Yeah, me
And
too, actually. Some people I went to high school with, they were like, "Oh, wait, you stream? What?" And they'd pop in. I
yeah.
didn't love it though, because I didn't have the best high school experience, but
Yeah.
it still was cool to be able to like catch up with some people or to reconnect, you
Yeah.
know?
And I'm like, it's funny. One of my sister's ex-boyfriends popped into my stream and I was like, oh, never expected you to be here. Hi, what's up, man? I mean,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, that's hilarious. Were you guys close or no?
Yeah, he was cool. Like we were all cool.
That's
Like
good.
my sister's on good terms with all of her ex-boyfriends.
Okay, that's good.
Boo, I lied. Maybe.
The majority, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that was fun interaction. But yeah, he just
How
popped
old is your
in.
sister? What's
30. Actually, she just turned
the age?
31.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's about like 3 years older than me.
Okay.
He popped in and I was like, okay, what are you up to? And honestly, he's doing really well for himself. And I was like, wow, this was a really good talk to have on a stream. Like, this was really engaging. This was really cool. It was cool to actually talk to you again. And then one of my other Asian friends from back home, he popped on
Wait, I have a question though. Do you
Yes.
think that he was just saying that because he was wondering if you would tell your sister
No.
how good
no.
he was doing? Okay.
No,
I had to ask. I was
no.
like, I don't know if he's.
Yeah, no, this was many, many, many years ago. I want to say probably like over 10 years ago now.
Gotcha.
And then one of my other Asian buddies came in, and we actually play a lot of Fortnite now. And I feel bad I haven't thought about him in a while, but it was really cool to actually talk with him again. Because him and two of his best friends and some of my friends, we would always party together in high school. And one of them is actually my financial advisor now. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Okay, that's awesome.
Wow, full circle.
Oh, real full circle moment. I was like, oh, dang, I gotta. And like, yeah, video games, the video game world is, it for lack of a better term, it is a world. And it's an amazing world. Like,
yes,
it's an escape, it's reconnection, it's connecting, like, it's amazing.
I didn't realize how, because I went the majority of my life without even understanding it, and a bunch of my friends were gamers, and of course my boyfriend, and like sometimes it was a little bit frustrating because I didn't understand like why he would be on a game for like 6-7 hours, you know, because you just don't get it when you're an outsider looking in.
Right.
And so a part of me wanted to be like, get off the game, like whatever. But then I was like, no, that's not like, I can't knock it until I try it, you know?
Right.
So I was like, all right, let me get my, and I have a really big, like, it's a great PC, and it's because I was able to use it as a tax write-off for my business. Ooh, and so nice. Yeah, so it's like a powerful PC, and I was like, okay, if I do want a game, I want to make sure it's powerful enough, because he was saying how much you need to be able to play these kinds of games. Right. And so yeah, I wanted to at least try it. And then again, like I feel so fortunate that I was exposed to that kind of world, especially during the pandemic when it was such a hard time to connect with people. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to like see that world, and I would always, I definitely recommend, if you are dating somebody and they don't love gaming, or they don't understand it, or they haven't, like, to absolutely try it, because it's insane, like the world. And there's so many different games that you can play that I'm sure you're going to find one genre. You don't have to be a crazy gamer, but at least to get some of that experience.
Yeah, I mean, take what's happening right now with The Last of Us. I mean, TV show, just 3 episodes, and pre-orders for the part 1 have skyrocketed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that show. I don't want to give any spoilers, but you guys have to watch it.
This most recent episode was heartbreaking.
So were you bawling? Like,
a little bit. Like,
oh my God.
That last shot was amazing. And I was like,
I felt like I was watching an anime. It was so sad. Because like animes really pull at your heartstrings. Okay. Do you watch anime at all or no? Mm-hmm. Okay. Have you seen Your Name? I think it's a movie.
I haven't watched it yet. I have done so much research into Your Name though, but
yeah. Oh, so you feel like you know it,
practically.
Or you've seen it okay. So that was the first anime that I had ever been exposed to. And I don't like sad movies or sad TV shows. Like I love happy, funny, like I don't want any of that, you know? I'm like I'm so sensitive with it. Like anything will just make me just start crying. And so Your Name, for some reason, anime, like the Japanese know how to pull at your heartstrings like crazy.
Their wording is so beautiful.
They like toy with you. And so when I first saw Your Name, I remember like just turning and like just like black makeup like all down my face. Just I felt like I was able to create fresh water for like everybody from how many tears were coming out of my eyes. Like it was, man. And I was like, I hate this, because it was so beautiful and like touching. I hated it. I was like, this is too many feels. I don't like it. Like I was just bawling. It was like uncomfortable.
That was the exact same feeling that I had when I watched the anime Your Lie in April. Okay. If you love sad stuff, that'll really tickle you. It's amazingly beautiful. It is actually my mouse pad right now. It's an amazing anime. This kid is a music prodigy, and she wants him to accompany her because she knows how much of an amazing pianist he is. And unfortunately, he's like lost his way with music, so she's trying to get his soul back into music. And
Oh.
the journey that these two go through is amazing. And the last episode, and also if you love classical music, the show is amazing. It's got beautiful classical music. The last song that they play is Chopin Etude, and I love Chopin. I think he's one of the greatest composers. And the way they just executed it, I never watched that show with friends because that is a show I will definitely ugly cry with, and it's
Yes,
heartbreaking. It is
Yeah.
heartbreaking. But yeah, that I have the exact same feeling with Your Lie in April.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, welcome back, everybody. I want to go back to The Last of Us, though, just because I think it's so interesting as we're talking about gaming and like a show that has to do with it. I think that The Last of Us, what was so good about it is that a lot of times whenever people try to turn shows or movies or games into shows or movies, they warp the story too much. And I think The Last of Us is one of the only ones that actually like stuck to the plot as best as it could.
And
I don't know if you agree.
I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, compare The Last of Us with something like Assassin's Creed, where Assassin's Creed had a great story already in the video games, and they just said, nope, we're gonna make our own thing. But The Last of Us,
why? Why did they do that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Like, my roommate had a lot of choice words to say about Assassin's Creed, and like I said, it had potential, and they ruined it. And even with the fantasy stuff, with fantasy games like World of Warcraft movie.
Yes.
Yep.
Or wait, are you talking about? They had a WoW, and then what about the Mortal Kombat too?
So, Mortal Kombat, another one of my friends, he swears that the 90s movie is the best because it actually stuck with the storyline. Cheesy graphics, but it legitimately was the best. Like, once I watched the new one, I went back and watched the first one, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's a 90s movie, but it definitely follows the game way better. Mm-hmm. The new one, the visuals were awesome. I hated the story. I hated the new character they added into it. I was like, what was the point? And yeah, it was kind of a killer. But again, the effects were awesome. The costuming was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's The Last of Us is a great example as to why you should have someone involved in the games, involved in your project. Having Neil Druckmann on this TV show, I don't think it would have been the same if he wasn't involved, or if he wasn't in the room and writing and directing.
Yes.
And it's really funny. It's really fun watching all of like Pedro Pascal's interviews right now because he never played The Last of Us. And I'm like, wow, for someone who's not played The Last of Us, you're hitting Joel kind of spot on right now. I
wonder if he did research though, like at least on it. He must have.
I'm sure he had to have, like, at least have the basic storyline, and
right.
I'm sure Troy Baker definitely came in and talked to him about it all and everything. And I don't know, it's just my friends are giving me so much crap about loving The Last of Us so much, but I'm like, this is
why?
I don't know.
So good. And I love to like the end, which we won't give too much away, but they did a really good job of showcasing some of like current things as well. Cause typically I don't want to give anything away. But,
right. I think what was genius about this was us as the people who have played the game were expecting one thing, But
Yes.
they took one little minute detail in this game
Yeah.
and expanded on this and on that world and made it
Yeah.
into something
A beautiful
beautiful and
story.
brilliant with the
Yes.
same end results as in the
Yes.
game. And I'm like, that
Is
is
art,
genius. That
like
is
artistry. Yeah.
like beautiful. And of course, there's going to be a few things in the next episode that might not be in there that I'll miss, and some of
Yeah.
the and some of my favorite, some fun lines are not in there, but whatever, that's fine.
It's
Every
close enough.
Yeah, and honestly, A+ to the costuming and makeup department for the clickers.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. They did such a good
God,
job.
and like the way they build tension in this TV show, I was shocked. Like I was like, this is a great way to build tension. Like the game was tense
Yeah.
enough, but watching it on screen actually happening, I was like, wow,
Yeah. They did
wow, I have
fantastic.
chills. I have to ask, what was your opinion on the end of episode 2 when that happened?
I mean, sad. That was the biggest one. I don't want to give anything away. I know it was a little bit different from the game, right? But I think that they did a good job because I also watched. If you're on HBO, do you see their explanation at the end?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, and that really helped me like appreciate it more too.
Same.
For the ending of it, but I mean, of course, I didn't like it though because I would have liked to see a little bit more progression with certain characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's my opinion. But we'll see, and I understand why they had to do it. So, and again, I think when you watch the end of the HBO and they explain it, it gives you like closure on things and understanding as to why, which is good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you watched Game of Thrones on there too, but that also really helped me because the ending of Game of Thrones really pissed a lot of people off. I hated it, and I like hearing them explain it. It made me hate it just a little bit less, more. But I still hated it. You're like, I felt the opposite.
I was like, I hate you guys a little more for this.
I know.
You guys ruined a perfectly good thing, but they made up with it in House of Dragons. I will admit, House of Dragons, amazing show. Like
I need to catch up on some of the last ones, and I think I got to like episode 4 or 5 or 3 or 4, so I need to finish that.
Oh man, that's a big time jump. It's pretty
awesome. What was your opinion for the end of The Last of Us?
The end of episode 2, just like you, it was. I saw that interview as to why they did it, and I was like, I understand it. But honestly,
I was sad.
I was very sad. They still took that with grace and gusto and made us feel something with it. Like,
agree. Yeah.
In the OG game, it's awesome in the game, but in this one, I'm like, I can still work with this. Like, I'm not heartbroken that they took some liberties with that.
Yeah.
But I do.
I know. If you guys haven't seen it, you absolutely I highly recommend. Even if you haven't played the game, or even if you're not if it's not really your genre, they've done such a beautiful job. I think that anybody would appreciate it. And leave your feedback down below if you didn't like it. Explain why. But I'd be very surprised if you didn't. So
I think this is an era for video game media, because it all started back in live action video game media, I should say. It all started back in the 90s with the live action Super Mario Brothers, and we all know how that went.
Yeah.
Low key, it is a guilty pleasure of mine because that was one of the first, I guess, movies I was exposed to. And I was like, this is awesome as an 8-year-old watching this. But I have a whole theory about a video game universe. And
ooh, please share.
Okay, so it's a Smash Brothers universe. And all of my friends are like, it's not going to happen. And I understand it will not happen, probably.
Wait, what do you mean by Smash Brothers universe?
So...
for VR, for movies, or
for movies, what? Smash Brothers cinematic universe. Because
I could totally see that.
Yeah, look at all the video game movies that have come out right now. Detective Pikachu,
even Wreck-It Ralph. That's
exactly.
That's an old arcade game, and they made a whole beautiful is it Disney or Pixar? Pixar movie.
Both. I classify them as both.
Yeah. So
Disney, Pixar, blah, same thing. Yeah. But Detective Pikachu. We have Super Mario coming out. We've got Sonic the Hedgehog, like
Yes.
1 and 2, which also amazing movies. Jim Carrey's amazing in them. Heck, I can't wait for spoilers. Sorry, Shadow the Hedgehog in Sonic 3. It's happening. It's been confirmed. It was in the post-credits scene. Anyways, so these are a lot of big characters in Super Smash Brothers. And many, many years ago, when Sonic Hedgehog 2 was announced, I was like, I think they're planning something here. And now I'm like on the edge of my seat, and I'm like, are they going to announce a live-action Samus movie? Because I would love a live-action Samus movie. And I know Netflix has been trying so hard to do a Legend of Zelda TV show. Will it ever happen?
Ooh,
Highly doubt it.
I didn't know that
but
they were trying to do that.
This has been like
Wow.
on and off for like almost 10 years, I feel like.
I wonder what's stopping them or what the struggle
probably-
is.
My roommate puts it into a lot of perspective. He said it's really hard to make a TV show about a character that doesn't speak. Like, Link never says a word, technically.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They're probably figuring out what storyline to go through. I mean, how many Legend of Zelda games have there been? A lot. So they're probably trying to figure out what to put in there. Plus, I'm sure Nintendo's got a hold of a lot of stuff right now that they have to jump through a lot of legal rights with. But
True. Yeah. That's really good perspective. Mhm.
yeah, if this all happened, I'd be like, we're having a Smash Brothers cinematic universe. But it would be hard to jump through a lot of legalities with like Marvel and DC right now, considering they started all of this, and they'd have to pay a butt ton of money. But I still think that it could happen. And I'm
I like it.
trademarking.
I like the optimism. There you go. You heard it. You heard it here, folks.
I'm trademarking this.
From Chris.
If video game movies start doing this, remember you heard it here first.
Yes, exactly. What are some of the top ones that you would love to see? Like if you had to have your choice of a game that hasn't been put into a movie or a TV show, if you had to pick like your top 5
I
that
would
you'd want to see.
love the Metroid movie with Samus. I think Anya Taylor-Joy would be an amazing Samus. I've already cast this too.
Again, trademarked again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Like
gonna
Anya
happen.
Taylor-Joy, I'm about to get you a big freaking movie role. I'm kind of skeptical about this, but I wouldn't mind an F-Zero movie, which is Captain Falcon. It's a bunch of racing. It's like Speed Racer, except in a video game. With The Rock as Captain Falcon.
There you go. Okay.
Let's see. For an animated series, I would love like a little YouTube video playlist of Mr. Game & Watch videos. And Mr. Game & Watch is an old video game. Like he's pixelated everything, and he's my main in Smash Brothers. Fight me, guys. I will crush you with Mr. Game & Watch. And I would love if those were like YouTube shorts. And then I would actually like an Ice Climbers TV show too. I thought the Ice Climbers were really awesome, and it would be fun to see a brother-sister dynamic in a video game movie,
That'd be cool.
or a video game anything. And let's see. Honestly, I think Super Mario Brothers is going to be number 5 on that list. I know it's being made right now, but this is going to be a proper Super Mario Brothers movie, and I'm super excited, even if Chris Pratt is in it.
Do you have reservations about Chris Pratt?
I gotta watch what I say. I'm not.
Right? You don't. People...
I'm not completely.
Bezos is already on his way.
I'm not completely against him. Like
Yeah.
I like Chris Pratt stuff. I love Parks and Rec. The Jurassic World movies, they were okay. I'm not gonna slander him for them.
Mhm.
Guardians of the Galaxy, like Guardians of the Galaxy 1 specifically, was amazingly funny. And I'm like, I don't have a problem with Chris Pratt as his roles, but obviously doing research and I don't know, me and religion have a lot of opinions about each other. So I don't want to go into that.
Okay. Yeah, we won't go down that
Yeah,
rabbit hole.
yeah, I don't want to go into
At
that.
all. So then I guess I wanted to ask this. I want to transition a bit and go back to your streaming. So why did you decide to be a streamer? I know you said that Allie like helped did she push you, or did you just say like, I want to try it, or what was the reason behind that?
I said, honestly, I just said I want to try it just for the fun of it.
Okay.
I started on my own, and then I told Allie, I was like, hey, I'm like streaming. This is really fun. Like, how do you advance more? And that's when all of that started happening. And it all just started because I just really wanted to do it. I didn't want any money from it.
Yeah. I think
I
that's the best way to go about it.
just wanted to play video games with my friends and talk with them. And if it was public, that's awesome. But yeah, that was the big change for me. I was like, and it's never going to be a bad thing that I started playing video games more. I never considered myself a gamer really until the pandemic. Like, I wouldn't spend 4 to 5 hours on a video game unless I was really invested in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself that. And like Allie did give me a lot of words of encouragement, and we would message back and forth on Discord a lot. I would ask her so many questions, and then she introduced me to a lot of the other Titans that I was able to ask questions to. And yeah, it was just a matter of dedication for me, I think.
And with your parents, like, and I know that you said that they were a little bit nervous about the gaming PC. How have they been about you as like a gamer? I know you said you didn't consider yourself one until really the pandemic, and what have they thought about streaming and all of that?
I'm not gonna say they actively like support it, but they don't have a problem with it. Like,
that's good.
They're not gonna go out of their way, go into my Twitch chats and say hi and everything. That's just not.
Mine didn't understand it.
Yeah.
Mine did not understand how it worked at all.
Exactly.
But they try.
It's not their vibe, and if they ever showed up, I would be shocked but happy that they showed up.
Yeah.
They laugh about it, not maliciously, but it's really
they just don't understand it.
Yeah, it's just really funny to them, and I'm like, yeah, I'm having fun. I met a lot of people. Like, I talked to my sister about some of my friends that I've met, and I use their Twitch names, and my parents are like, who?
I know. I was saying, I've said this a few times, that it's crazy because you like talking about the relationships that you have with these people and how close that they are to you, and you don't even know their real names. You don't even know where they are. I mean, maybe, but for the most part, you're like, you don't even know their names.
I don't know you guys. I still love you though.
Right? I know. You're like, I love you so much. I don't even know your name, or like, you're just some random person I met online. Which everybody stay safe too. Don't just trust anybody.
Yeah.
Be very safe.
Yes, please be very safe. I think we just all got very fortunate that we attracted good people to our lives.
Yeah. I do think part of it though is about the energy, like also with how you go into streaming and your intentions behind it. I mean, of course you're going to get some bad eggs, but as long as you have good intentions, I feel like energy, you can like attract that in a sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just what I think. But so I know that we're cutting it close to time. Do you have any final words of encouragement or any final tips? Anything that you want to say to people who are gamers or maybe interested in gaming or just in general?
Yes, actually, and especially for you new streamers, if you guys are just like starting out, like I did, a console is all you need. And if you guys are even on Twitter, if you guys see people slandering like cheap equipment like USB microphones, because I've been seeing that a lot recently, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
I use a $30 condenser microphone, USB microphone, and it is amazing. And
wow, right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think mine was like a $30 or $50.
Yeah, like
it was a blue snowball. I got it as a gift, but it's great.
They are like the cheap stuff works, and it'll get you started. Like, and
you can always upgrade.
Exactly, you can always upgrade. You can't downgrade. Well, you can downgrade, but always upgrade.
Yeah. Start cheap, and then you
exactly. But like, invest in yourself. Oh, don't forget to take care of yourself too. Streaming is very mentally taxing. But if you really want to go into it, consistency is your key. Consistency. Stick with your schedule. Stick with the same dates.
Absolutely.
And look up as many YouTube videos as possible, and don't be afraid to ask for help too. do not be afraid to
Yes.
ask for help, because there will be people who will gladly help you. There'll be other Discords with people that'll gladly help you. You can talk to other streamers that you interact with. They'll probably gladly help you. Like, it's not a competition out here. It's a team. And we're all out here to help each other.
I completely agree with everything that you said. I think that's all perfect advice. So thank you so much for being here and participating and telling us about your story and just chatting with me. That was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
And yes, everybody please go follow Chris and hang out on his stream. He's streaming, well, I guess you're streaming tonight, but that's going to be Saturday because it's pre-recorded. So
that's right.
Yeah. But anyways, thank you so much. And thank you everybody from the Titan Media, all the fans. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for having me. See you guys later.